All right, here he is.
Invigorating, one of the most invigorating conversations and interviews that I've ever had. Thank you for being so respectful and going so in depth with me in such a respectful and non-invasive way, and being such a great, journalist, the right questions. And, I always find that I'm always asked the same thing and they're always very arbitrary. So thank you for challenging me. I always like to be challenged.
What's the difference between a good MC and a great MC?
A good MC makes good songs. I don't know. I think that's subjective. I think that's a little mean, actually. What's the difference between a good MC and a great MC? A great MC has a deeper caliber of like, I'm a good MC, but Lauryn Hill's a great MC. You know what I mean? I'm a good MC.
So how do you get to be a great MC?
With, excelling my pen, excelling my mind.
Just more time writing, more experience in the booth, more.
I also think that, like, there are things that, like, me and Lauryn Hill grew up really, really being the epicenter of hip hop. I'm a little bit too flaky for that. I love rock music. I make other music other than hip hop, and I always have. So of course I'm not a great MC like Lauryn Hill, because I also make rock music. I also make trip hop. I also make R&B. I also make pop music. I also make EDM. So when you think about it, like, I know I'm not going to put myself in that position of her, because I'm not that type of musician. It's a miracle that I'm even in these conversations with a Lauryn Hill or with a Bahamadia or with Erykah Badu. And I think it's because, like, everybody puts us, like, earthy women together, and, like, it's like, oh, you don't talk about your pussy too much, so you're just going to go with the other women. But I'm very different from them, actually, as well. And come from a different perspective as them, So it's like, I don't even think that, like, I think that the spectrum of women and musicians has just become so individualized that I don't even feel like I'm in either, or I feel like I'm, like, in a whole other different place. And that's why I can
tell me your top five. Who's your top five?
My top five. Okay, my top five female rappers are definitely Lauryn Hill, Hurricane G, Bahamadia, Gangsta Boo, and Brown. Foxy Brown. I love Lil' Kim, but
who was the last one? Foxy Brown.
Foxy Brown.
I was expecting Missy to come up in there.
I love Missy too, but do I have to pick? Like, fuck. You asked me five.
No.
Head. They're not my top five favorites. And if I say anybody else, I hope you slip my hands off. No, it's just like, it's a non-denominational list. And top five top men are definitely Notorious B.I.G., Big Pun, DMX, MF Doom, and Wild Card. let's just say, wild card, I'm gonna have to say, so Q-Tip.
It's a very New York list. I love it.
I'm a New York kind of girl, but I really did grow up loving Eazy-E because one time my cousin played it for me while we were getting high when I was a teenager, and I was like, what is this? And he played Real Motherfucking G's, and he pulled out a gun, and I was like, oh no, this is cool. And like my cousin Rich, he just like, he started stacking to Eazy-E, and I was like high as shit, and I was like, and then the whole, like that whole West Coast vibe and the flow, to this day, I still get like this really emotional nostalgia when I hear that song, because it just was this introduction of something different to what I loved and knew. And it just was, you know, it's like when I got introduced to Southern rap and I listened to like Gangsta Boo for the first time, or listen to like La Chat or 3 6 Mafia or like Tommy Wright for the first time, and it blows your mind, and you go, this is a different cultural aspect of hip hop that's not from New York. Look how, and it's just like, it's so unique, and you see how, you know, the South and the slang they use and a sampling they use, you know, like hip hop in New York we use disco and funk, and in California they use like oldies, like, and like in the South they use this other spectrum of sampling. It's just fascinating. It's just so wow.
Is it true that you attacked a man on the train who was coming out of pocket? Did that really happen?
Yes.
What happened?
He called this young group of 14-year-old basketball playing boys a bunch of niggas. And
a white man.
Yeah. They were, before he got on the train, there was a sweet group of little like high school, maybe middle school, Black Spanish boys together. And I remember thinking how you know, because I don't have no kids and all my friends have kids, so I get baby fever a lot. And I always think like, you know, like I'm a sister woman, like I'm a sister girl, you know. So when I see like positive examples of brown youth in unison, it just makes me happy. It makes me puts a smile on my face. And I love to see boys in the park playing basketball, football, because they're being active and they're not on drugs and they're not outside in the gangs and they're not being wild, and it just makes me smile. You know, it's like positive. So I remember thinking like, oh, isn't that nice? Like kids just hanging out and doing something creative and recreational. And as they were getting off the train, this white man, he was starting with them as they got off the train, and I noticed that. I was like, oh, they about to start fighting. But the boys didn't care, and they just left. And the guy got on the train, and when the doors closed, he just had this nasty snarl, and he was so drunk, and he was stumbling, and as soon as the doors closed and went bing, bing, he went, fucking niggers, and he looked back at them, and it was like the most menacing thing I ever like seen, and they were children. And that was it. Like, I did not wait one fucking second. I got up and like a real New York bitch, like on some real gangster shit. And I don't ever do this. Like, you know, I do this. Like, this is very in my nature, but it's not something like I don't have like this overt history of like fighting with people and shit. And like, I'm not like a hothead. And like, or maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe I don't know it. But I just like got up and I just punched him in the face. And I remember just getting up and going like, oh, hell no. And like, I just got up and punched him in the face. And I told him like, I was like, I don't even remember. I just was like talking like, you fucking racist. Like, I just got nasty. And I was just like, how dare you speak like that? Those are children. And I just punched him in the face. And then he called me a nigger. And then all the men in the train got up and came to my side. And they was like, oh, no, partner, we don't play like around like that. Like, you got to go. And then like, it was like literally out of what you see on YouTube. Everybody got up, and everybody, if it was white guys telling him that he was wrong, black men telling him that he was wrong, women, Asian women telling him he was wrong, we were all telling him that he was wrong. And then that's when he was starting to spiral, and the verbiage came out. And that's when he was like, I'm a New York, I went to NYU law. This is freedom of speech. He was like, I'm a lawyer. And he just started, he was just spewing. By that time, I had my phone out, and I was like, you hear me in the background. People don't notice. I'm like, well, you're going to be on the 6 o'clock news. By the end of the night, everybody's going to know what a bigot and what a racist you are. So that's me talking to him, telling him that he's a bigot and he's a racist. And then the train was coming in. They already was pushing him off. I said, he called me a nigga. I'm about to throw some soup in his face. And I did. I was worried about getting scalded. I wanted to embarrass him. And it was really traumatizing for me. I was really saddened by the whole thing. It was like, I remember a girl I hung out with my whole teenagehood. She was on a train, and she was like, Destiny, are you okay? I remember just getting off the train and just crying and just being like, state of America, what the fuck? Like, what the actual fuck? And I just remember thinking, like, this is happening all over America. And we need to, like, I don't know about, like, it's very scary to stand up to white supremacy, but I just felt like nobody else had a reaction immediately. Like, everybody is so shocked and just kind of like paralyzed by like white supremacy. And I feel like that has to end in a way, you know what I mean? Like, we can't just like be shocked valued and like tiptoe around white people using the N-word, or white people thinking it's okay to be racist and or have microaggressions for us. You know, I use my privilege as a light-skinned woman to be like, no, anybody is disrespecting or disrupting the peace of the people that I hold so deep in my heart, in my mind, in my spirit, in my soul. I don't mean to get emotional. I put blackness at a premium. Like, I put the community that has always recognized me and loved me as one of their own. I put my people at a premium. And like, when it comes to like the love I have for my community, like those little boys, they were being verbally attacked without, they didn't even know it. They had already left. And it was like, you're attacking young men. You're attacking little boys. These are our little boys. These are our little boys that are getting shot every day in the street just for being themselves. I take all that stuff really to heart. You know, I love black men. They are our kings. And I hope maybe one day that I have a beautiful husband and children that look just like that and represent all the beautiful things that represent that. And I know that I love black men. I love them, not for their phallic use or for their music or for their skin color. I love black men for the royalty and the beauty and the divine goodness that they represent. And when it comes to defending blackness, that's when I just had to use all of my strength to come defend how I.
That's really powerful.
Special I think black men are, and I do. I think black men are so special. Sorry.
No, that's really powerful. That's really powerful.
Yeah, that's